Yasharal. This is part two. I just picking up in the book of Hosea, going over when Israel, when we went off, when we was no longer his sons or his children. Because as I was just saying in the first video, that the Most High considered Israel to be his son, Jacob his son, Israel his son, his firstborn. So going into the book of Hosea or Hushai, the first chapter in verse 7, he says, "But I shall have compassion on the house of Yahudah, and save them by Yahuwah their allure, their mighty one, and not save them by bow or by sword or battle, by horses or horsemen." So verse 8, "And she weaned in Lo Rakumah, and conceived and bore a son. And then he said, Call his name Lo Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not for you. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which is not measured nor counted. And it shall be in the place where it was said to them, You are not my people. They shall be called, You are the sons of the living mighty one. And the children of Yahudah and the children of Yasharal shall be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and shall come out of the earth, for great is the day of Israel." So I'm just reading. So this is where Israel have been scattered. Well, yeah, we've been scattered, but this is also where Israel was broken off. And there's a lot of other scriptures, like in the book of Jeremiah, the book of Daniel, to where we broke off as a nation. So we had to, in order to be grafted back, we have to be received back in. We have to be adopted back in as sons. So we pertain the adoption, but it doesn't stop there. Let me get back to it. Going back to Galatians, we're going to start at verse 8. It says, "But then indeed, not knowing Yahuwah, you serve those which by characteristics are not mighty ones." As we know of Israel, those of us who coming into the truth, we know that they got all these different religions that us Negroes is partaking in. You got, of course, Christianity is the number one, but then you also have Negroes in Islam. We have Israelites in Buddha, Hinduism, referring to all the chakras and things like that. He said, "You serve those which by characteristics are not mighty ones." But verse 9, "But now after you have known Yahuwah, or rather are known by Yahuwah, how do you turn again to the weak and poor elementary things, to which you wish to be enslaved again?" So that just goes to show that when you read throughout the Old Testament, we was always, the main sin that we was always committing was idolatry. Judah committed idolatry. Israel committed idolatry constantly. Couldn't get away from it. So, that's when he gave us, I believe it's in Jeremiah, where he wrote a certificate of divorce. Let me find it very quick. I believe it's Jeremiah. Is it Jeremiah or Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. It says, "And I saw that for all the causes for which backsliding Israel had broken wedlock, he had broken spiritual wedlock. I had put her away and given her a certificate of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah did not fear, and went and committed whoring too." Not just talking about just physical whoring, just having sex with a bunch of people or whatever. It's talking spiritual whoring, referring to worshiping different idols. And exactly what we're doing today, Israel. But that is why he was broken off, and that is why through the Son he had to send us. He had to redeem us. That's why he said to redeem those who were under the law. We was the ones that was under the law. So to go more in depth, let's go to Galatians chapter 4. We're gonna start at verse 22. It says, "For it has been written." I'm gonna pause right there. Anytime where you see in the New Testament where it says, "For it has been written," it is referring to the Old Testament. So to everybody who says they New Testament believers only, they New Testament only, they live in the New Testament. Without the Old Testament, you cannot understand the New. It won't be no New Testament if it wasn't for the Old, because plenty of times it says, "For it has been written," which means it was written before. So you have to know what was written before to understand what Paul is going to explain right now. For it has been written that Abraham had two sons, one by a female servant, the other by a free woman. So who was these two sons that he had? Let's go. Let's go all the way back to Genesis 16. As you read there, and it says, "And Sarah, Abram's wife, had borne him no child, and she had a Mizrite female servant, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said to Abram, 'See, Yahweh has kept me from bearing children. Please go into my female servant.'" So as you keep on reading in 16, Abraham, he went into her female servant, and she bore him a child, and that's when Ishmael came about. And so when you keep on reading in go over to chapter 17, starting at verse 19, he says, "And the mighty one said, 'No, Sarah, your wife, is truly bearing a son to you, and you shall call his name Isaac, or Yitzchak. And I shall establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. See, I shall bless him, and shall make him bear fruit, and greatly increase him. He is to bring forth 12 princes, and I shall make him a great nation. But my covenant I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah is to bear to you at this time next year." So as you see, Ishmael was already gone. And so the two sons, those are the two sons that he was supposed to have. So going back to Galatians chapter 4. Man, I should have took notes on this. Galatians chapter 4. It says, "For it has been written that Abraham had two sons, one by a female servant, which is Ishmael, and the other by a free woman, which is Isaac." Now, verse 23. Galatians chapter 4, verse 23. "But he who was of the female servant was born according to the flesh." So Ishmael was born of the female servant. Ishmael was born according to the flesh, and he of the free woman through promise. So as you see here, I got a precept right there. There's Romans 9 and 8. Romans 9 and 8. And Romans 9 and 8, we're going to pick that up in the next video.